Hello and welcome to the THOMCAST. I'm Tom, president and dictator for life of 515comics.com. So this week, I don't actually have a whole lot of new stuff going on, like upcoming. So I thought I would just talk again a little bit about some of the things that have happened in the past couple weeks, since that's been kind of interesting. First of all, last weekend, which, gosh, it already seems like it's been longer than just a week. But last weekend, Maddie and I, as you know, went to SpringCon. It was great. It was the first convention we went to last year and got a table at. It was Maddie's first convention having some of his own stuff at a table. And it was also the first convention that we returned to. So that was really cool. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people did recognize us and say, hey, weren't you here last year? And that was awesome. I got to see Linkara again. I'm going to put a link down below to the episode that he featured us in. Last year at SpringCon, Linkara was walking around and he was doing some recording for one of his episodes. If you don't know, he's an internet personality. He has a show where he reviews comics, like he reviews comic books. Anyway, it was really cool to run into the guy again. He's a really sweet guy, and it was nice to get a chance to thank him in person for using us in a little skit in one of his shows. So anyway, after you watch this, go give the episode a watch. First of all, the review is great, and the comic that he reviews is pretty hilarious. And then, of course, at the end of it, you can see our little bit that he used the whole thing. It was really fun. Another thing that happened that I didn't get a chance to talk about last week, because Maddie and I were talking about SpringCon, was last week I went and I spoke to a group of 6th and 7th graders, which was pretty weird. A couple months ago, I was contacted about an opportunity to speak to this class of kids. They were doing an extracurricular class kind of during school hours that was about making comics. And so all year they'd been studying different kinds of comics, like newspaper comic strips, editorial comics, actual comic books. And so they'd been discussing those, and I basically talked to them about what I do and kind of asked them a little bit about what they'd learned and what they'd made themselves, because they were using like this iPad app to make comics and things like that. It was a really neat experience. It was a lot of fun, and I would definitely do it again just because it was neat. It was fun for me, and it was kind of fun just because it's like, you know, it's like the spiel that I give at conventions when people ask, so what's this comic about? Like, what, do you do it? Is it something that you do? I have a few minutes to explain the whole thing to them. So basically, it was like that, except I had, 45 minutes to explain it. So I kind of got to go into a lot of the why I decided to do comics and how I came up with these ideas, and it was a really neat experience. It was a lot of fun for me to go and share with those kids, and also it was just kind of fun for myself to just kind of like reevaluate, like, what am I doing, why am I doing it, and what are my plans. So it was just kind of a fun way to do that without just sitting down and doing that for no reason. Speaking of sitting down and just thinking about stuff, I am so excited now that the bulk of my convention work is done. The next major convention is going to be in September for me. There is Minicon, which is actually just in June. It's June 15th is Minicon, which is right here in Des Moines. So that one's going to be really great just because I won't have to travel. It's just one day. I think it's just for about like 6 or 7 hours or something. Like, it's really a pretty small show, so I don't have to do a whole lot to prepare for it, which I'm very excited about. So anyway, the bulk of my convention work is kind of done for summer, which is awesome. So now I can actually sit down and start working on the book. I have to tell you, I'm so excited to work on a book. I also have to tell you, I don't have anything new to report about the book currently. I think the last time I was talking with Maddie about the books recently, I think at SpringCon we were talking about it, and yeah, I've got a pretty good idea with his help on what I'm going to do for the cover of book 2, and also the cover of book 3 and maybe book 4. So I've got covers pretty much set, which is actually good news for me because sometimes I have a really hard time with covers. But we're going to try and do something that's kind of themed along the same lines as the first cover, where it's like a wraparound and it's just like a solid color of a character that appears within the chapters that are featured in the graphic novels. I think one of the first things I'm going to do is come up with some sketches for the cover, and so maybe I'll have some of those to show you next week. Like I say, I'm very excited to start working on book 2. So we will see more from that as it develops. I keep kicking the table, so I'm sorry if this is a little shaky, but I had a lot of sugar today, and I can't help it. I just have to keep moving around somehow. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you next week.